It's cold. Oh, hello everybody, and today we are building a polytunnel. So my darling wife, bless her, she bought me a polytunnel for Christmas. So today is Boxing Day and I am out of the plot and we're going to build it. So I'm going to stick you on time lapse and I'm not going to chat all the way through it. I'm going to build a polytunnel. I'm just going to do the frame today because I've got nothing to stake it all down with, but we're going to build a frame, bury it, and hopefully all be good. Let's get it done. What we've got to do is all this stuff. So there's the cover I'm not going to use, but we've got all these poles. We've got the bent ones, which are the roof, which I believe is what I've got to start with. Yes, I have read the instructions. Yeah, so we've got to put all the roof bendy parts together. Then we've got to do the first set of uprights, so this will be the upper part of the uprights, and then the cross braces, and then the next set of downs, and then another frame around the bottom of that. Once that's all in place, then I'll dig it all out. This one is a 3 metre by 2 metre, not huge, but it's big enough for what I need. And then sat over my shoulder on there is a coil of pipe, and that pipe will be fed inside, and that's going to be the irrigation to the polytunnel. So yeah, now I've told you what we've got to do. I was going to stick you on time lapse, and we're going to get this all done. I said I read the instructions, I've already gone wrong. So the lengths that go across, that's a number 6. And I assumed that that would be a number 6. And then that one over there would be a number 6. I assumed wrong. I'll take it apart and redo it. So all I'm doing is putting it loosely together. There's several joints, as you can see, that where are we? There you go, overlap, and just want to make sure that everything goes together properly before I bolt it all up nice and tight. It's very wobbly, as you can tell, but the cross brace is doing a good job of trying to keep it together and upright. Right. I don't want to keep sticking you guys on time lapse, but I think it's very boring watching me just do up some bolts. Needless to say, the instructions are not particularly clear. There's about 30 steps per picture, so it's very easy to make a mistake, which I did in the very first 5 minutes, as always. So yeah, I'm going to crack on, and I'll stick you guys back on time lapse and get some more done. It does come with a little Allen key and a little pathetic pressed spanner thing. I'm not using that. I'm using power. I don't want to spend an hour doing up these little tiny nuts and bolts. Not for me. So I'm going to zip these up and then we're going to move it in place. And I'm going to show you a top little tip on how to move a polytunnel frame on your own. when you've got to move a polytunnel on your own, the easiest way of doing it is to get a piece of timber between the two sides and you can lift it up. If you're vertically endowed, as I am, you can just move it like that. It's the easiest way for me. Or you can just do it side to side. But you do have to be careful with putting too much pressure on the frame. So I tend to walk it. And today we are joined by my lovely wife and kids. Everyone's enjoying their Christmas. Did you all have a good Christmas? Now, I know where I've got to be for this, so I'm hoping she's about in the right position. Looks about right to me. So, with this polytunnel, some of them have bars that connect from here to here and again across the front. This one doesn't, it's just a frame that goes up and over. So it has 6 inches on the bottom of these down posts on each one of them. So there's 8 in total and they need to go in the ground. Now it says in the instructions, which I did read by the way, that you are to dig holes and bury it. Well, this whole area's got to come up anyway. I've got another piece of timber to go along here, which would be my rear edge, and that will go in soon, and then this is all being buried. So I'm not digging holes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push these down into the ground with a bit of my weight, push them down with my foot, a bit of downward pressure, and they'll go in. This ground is really, really wet. So we're in Devon, it's done nothing but rain for a month, and we've had a couple of days of dry weather, and that's about it. So everything's nice and wet and soft. So there's no reason why they shouldn't go in. Famous last words. So if you can hear me panting, I do apologise. I've had a rotten cold over Christmas, and yeah, he just kind of went away on yesterday, Christmas Day. But it's left me a bit chesty and a bit wheezy, so I do apologise. Same as the last video, I realised when I was editing it, I was panting like a champion. That's when it pretty much started. So, anyway, I digress. Let's get these in the ground. Now, I'm not stepping these ones in. Once again, this area's got to come up. If I step them in, my polytunnel will be a bit of a slant. So, now the polytunnel's in place, I don't have to worry about casting shadows on somebody else's plot. Lucky enough, where I've decided to place this, right next to you there is the very back corner of my neighbour. We've got 600mm gap between me and them, and this is the area where she puts her compost bins, and there's a little conifer tree there, so don't have to really worry about anything there. Right here, you can just about see in this back corner here, this pathway is the outside edge of the plot. Sorry, of the site rather than just a plot. So once again, I don't have to worry about casting shadows. The sun does face, so comes this side. Okay, so I'm sort of like south sideways. I think I point east. So the sun comes across this during the day, which means my polytunnel is going to get very, very, very hot. I don't mind that too much. So I've got irrigation. I don't have to worry about it too much. But yeah, the only shadow that's going to be cast is on that side, and that's say compost area. So she's not too worried about that. And no way. This compost is still steaming. As I dig it up, there's little bits of steam coming out of it. Now, I think that means it's good stuff. There's still bio breakdown in the soil, which to me sounds like a good thing. But as I said, I'm a novice when it comes to this stuff, so. But I love these. You'd have to bend over. Long handle shovels and spades. Oh, that's the way to do it. Let's get another couple. If you're using a wheelbarrow and you're able to, point it in the direction that you want to go. So my polytunnel is behind you. If you're going to be walking that way, point it that way. Saves you trying to move it or turn it around when you're facing the wrong direction. And just makes life a little bit easier for you. Also, if you ever see on Marketplace or any other used selling site a Bell wheelbarrow, buy one. They're probably the most expensive wheelbarrow you've ever seen in your life, but they are absolutely indestructible. There's videos of guys out there that all they do is try and break these things. I've seen the 1.5 ton diggers put their bucket on it and lift themselves up, knock it over, do it again, and they lift the digger off the floor with it, like pivoting the arm off it. Yeah, they're not to say they're indestructible, but they take a hell of a beating. See, long handle tools as well, definitely the way to go. Save a lot of breaking down or bending down, and make life a little bit easier for you. I know I'm moving about a bit, but so I've got a bit of a pile here I need to move. There's no real right or wrong way to do it. Just pick a high spot, start digging it down. Now I can feel when I'm digging down here I'm just about hitting the cardboard, so I don't want to go any deeper, so hence why I'm changing my position all the time. Not only that, as I dig it down, the compost is falling into the hole I've just created, so I'm kind of getting my level and at the same time filling the holes, which is ideal. I really need to do this stuff in summer, really, but I need to get it done for the spring so I can start planting. But summer's best because this stuff's dry and it's easy to move when it's dry. When it's wet, it's horrible. So I've got myself a little bit of a platform here. So I've dug around the outside edge, let's call it, and I'm standing here. And you can keep breaking out into that area that you've already dug. It means the area that you've dug, you're digging, is falling into a looser area. It's kind of hard to explain, but you imagine making a hole and then you dig from the edge of that hole and you can keep moving out and moving out and moving out and moving out and moving out. It means you're digging against the, with the grain rather than against it. You're not working against yourself. Definitely the easiest way of doing it. I need to go grab my rake in a second. I definitely don't have the right footwear on today. We literally pulled up outside and then I discovered that I left my boots at home because I was too excited about getting my polytunnel up. Going on about tools again. One of the tools that I really like to use is, you probably recognise them, it's Wolf Garden. Now, even as a landscaper, when we were laying turf and doing flower beds and stuff like that, we'd use Wolf Garden tools. Not only were they easier to store because you can take the heads off them, I can demonstrate so. It's got a nice yellow button there, and the head comes off. You can change them over, replace the head, do whatever you want to do. There are loads of tools, different shapes and sizes. You've got hose and little plough things for potatoes and all sorts. There is literally hundreds of different things. But they're really robust. I mean, you think of the interchangeable head, they'd be prone to breaking. I think I've had one out of the 20 or so that I've got gone. And that's mainly because it was damaged anyway. We ran over it with a van. So yeah, they're pretty good. I like them. My wife uses them. We use them at home as well. So, but you can get brush heads as well. That's the other thing, and all sorts. There's loads of things you can do with them. Now, I can actually see on my phone that it's screaming at me that I'm running out of memory on my phone for some reason. So I'm going to call this one here. What I'm going to do now is just bury those poles. You can just see this one here. I'm just going to bury those poles a little bit with some compost. Nothing interesting to see. So yeah, I shall leave this one here, and I shall catch you all guys on the next one. I hope you had a good Christmas, and I'll see you in the new year. Bye bye.